All right, well, we're doing our Mornings According one more week here at Elmira. Thank you for coming down to Elmira this morning. We're here with Becky McNeill. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning. So what is it that you do here? You brought some really colorful things for us.
Well, I am a modern fine art quilter, so I make art quilts in an improvisational design.
These are very cool, I know, and colorful, and it's cold this morning, so I was like, I need one.
Unfortunately, I don't have one large enough, but
I know, I'm a big guy. People don't get that on there because they see me next to Nick and they think we're the same height.
It's about as big as it gets for me.
It's about as big as it gets. But
maybe your lap.
Exactly. Well, it's perfect, and I can't wait. And you brought some stuff for us to play with too.
I did, yes.
Okay, cool. Well, I can't wait. And you're based out of Corning, you said?
I am.
Perfect.
Right
all right,
downtown.
Yeah. Right downtown. So we're going to have more with Becky McNeill coming up. So again, you don't want to miss that. We have our Mornings in Corning one more time here in the studio of Elmira. Good morning, back here with Becky McNeill. Thank you so much for joining us on this cold morning, and you brought your quilts, so I'm excited about that. I want to know how you got into that. You were telling me as a kid you got into these.
Yes, my great-grandmother was a quilter, so I learned a little bit from her. I started making traditional quilts by hand for beds as a kid, but apparently I don't like to follow rules.
Yeah, neither do I.
And there are a lot of rules in traditional quilt making, so that didn't last very long.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
But eventually a friend of mine introduced me to the modern quilt movement, and there aren't nearly as many rules in that.
Good.
So I sort of found my home there and improvisational design, which is what I do now.
Nice. Okay, yeah. I don't like the rules either.
Nope, no fun.
We don't follow them here, especially on the morning show.
Don't tell my kids that, though.
Okay, yes. So you got into that as a kid, and you said, when did you transition from the full-size quilt making to modern?
I made the transition to modern quilting about 15 years ago, and then slowly made my way out of big quilts into art quilts probably in the last 5 years.
Okay, so so even the modern you were doing the full size?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right, well, I can't wait to learn more. I'm going to ask you a ton more questions about these quilts coming up, so stay with us because we have a lot more with Becky McNeill coming up. All right, we're back here with Becky McNeill. I've been loving what you've been showing us so far, and I wanted to talk a little bit about the inspiration behind some of these pieces. And like, do you have a running list in your head, or what are you working on next? I know that's a lot to take in there.
That's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
I do always have a running list.
Okay.
Currently, I'm working on a series called Home. It's about the concept of home in modern society, and this is actually the title piece from that collection. It will be in an exhibition on Market Street in Corning, opening in April.
Okay.
And it's based on the traditional log cabin block, where the red in the center represents the warmth of the home fire or the hearth.
Okay.
And the presence or absence of red in this collection carries a lot of the message. So
nice.
I get into ideas of immigration and relocation and transiency.
Yeah.
I even touch on COVID a little bit.
Okay.
I started the collection before COVID even existed, but
it
sort of worked its way into the collection with social distancing and when we were all isolated, and spent a lot of time in our home while
yes,
I was
a lot. I'm sure you're able to crank some stuff out, though.
I was.
Yes, there you go. And then we even have this, has some words on it. We're going to talk about this. You said this kind of touches on COVID too, or some of the inspiration you came with. So we'll get into that coming up, and we're going to show a lot more of your work as well. So we have a lot more with Becky McNeill again through 7 o'clock here on Mornings in Corning. Thanks, Nick. Yes, back here with Becky McNeill, and you've been showing us some of your work, but I want the viewers to see even more. So I made a video. Take a look at your screen. These are some of your pieces. Tell me about your design process, please.
So I'm an improv quilter, which means I don't follow a pattern when I design. So I don't know if you cook much. Do you cook?
I try. I don't know how good I am, but I try.
I usually compare my design to cooking. Some people follow a recipe. They want to make soup, but they get out a recipe, they buy all the ingredients, and then they follow that recipe exactly. Okay. Other people decide they want to make soup. They look in their kitchen, they find all the whatever they have, and they just make soup with it.
I think that's my style of cooking.
That's how I cook too, so that's also how I quilt. Some people, when they quilt, they find a pattern, they follow it exactly, and they make exactly what is on the cover of the pattern. Okay. Other people, when they quilt, they say, okay, I want to make a quilt today. What do I have and how can I put it together?
And so that's what you do.
And that's what I do. It's kind of a spectrum though. Some people will find a pattern, they'll make some changes to it, and then go from there. Some people will see a quilt they like and say, oh, I think I can do that. And they'll design on their own. And then some people just find the fabric they have, see where inspiration leads them, and see what comes out of it.
So it literally is just like cooking.
It really is just like cooking.
It's no secret to all the viewers, us here on the morning show love to eat. So it's perfect. So it fits in right with us. And then again, we're going to have more with Becky coming up over the next half hour, and we're going to even touch in to this word that says see me. So there's an important message behind that, which we're going to get into coming up. So stay with us. All right, back here with Becky McNeill, and this is a piece that says see me. You can see that there right on your screen. Will you tell me a little bit about this?
Yes, so this piece is one that I made during the COVID time period.
Yeah.
And it was inspired by the women that had been sort of lost during COVID.
Okay.
Or became invisible somewhat. A lot of women were out of work due to having to provide childcare or be at home with their kids. And I think that there was just sort of a secondary epidemic of women losing careers or losing their livelihood or losing their identity and becoming invisible. So the words are intended to be hard to see. Okay. We've actually had trouble getting it right side up here in person. I think it shows up a little better on camera.
It actually shows better up on camera. I'm looking at it, but I'm like, yeah, it's harder to see
in person. It's difficult to see the words, but it just speaks to the invisibility of women in this difficult time.
Yes, and do you do these often with these messages?
Actually, this is the first time I've done something like this, so I think there are probably more to come.
Hold it up again, because that's really cool, and it's great to have like a meaning behind it, you know? Like it adds that extra layer, so see me. There you go. Well, thank you for sharing for that, and we have more, again, with Becky McNeill coming up all the way through 7, so stay with us. Okay, so we're going to play a little bit now. You're going to kind of teach me how to interpret. So we have pieces here, different colors. Tell me a little about, these are repurposed, you said?
Yes, so I like to reduce waste in my work. As much as possible. The textile industry contributes a lot to waste in our landfills. So I made a piece recently for the Genesee Valley 100, which will be installed at the Silver Lake Brewing Project and opens on November 17th. Okay. And it was a scene, an abstract scene depicting the Genesee River. Of course. So these are the pieces that I had left over, and they're fall colors representing trees, autumn leaf change, the river, and the sky. And
they're more vibrant than what we got this year, too.
Yes, much more vibrant. So we're going to play with it and see if we can make a fall scene on this board.
So you use it, you put it on this board.
Yep.
So that's going to be my leaves.
Right.
Right, okay.
And we just, and they'll hang there, and then we're just going to work with the colors to make sky.
And then what do you do? Yeah, the sky is up here.
Yep.
Kind of do it up. So
perfect.
And you said it doesn't have to fit in,
Doesn't have to fit perfectly. We can always fill in the gaps with more pieces later.
And what are this is like grass?
Grass, darker trees.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Okay, another. Oh, I like this one. That's pretty.
Fill in some red.
Yeah.
We can.
Okay. Yeah, I want that
some river
too.
in there. Do you want it to run along the front, or do you want it to run up through?
Oh, I want it in the front.
Okay.
There you go. Okay. So we're going to keep doing this, and we're going to fill this up, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to make my own little square.
Perfect.
All right, so stick with us, because we're going to keep working on this during break and during Nick's weather. So again, you won't want to miss that, and you'll get my little small quilt here coming up.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right, back here with Becky McNeill, and I have finished my first little square quilt.
I think you did a fantastic job.
Okay, so let me explain it. We have the sky up here, and then we have the leaves that I would want the colors to look like this year. I know we were a little dull.
I know.
But that's what I would like it to be. And a little grass heading into the river.
Perfect.
And it's a little bluer than it's been, just because it's been so rainy.
Yeah, muddy.
And muddy. Anyway, so that's that. So tell me about what the next step would be from this, that you would take it.
So the first thing we would do is sew all of these pieces together, and we would make sure we filled in all the gaps and got everything to match up.
Okay.
And then we would have a quilt top. So you would have a pieced top from there.
Okay.
And we would take, I have a mini one here, put together to give you an example. So this would be your quilt top all sewn together.
Okay.
And we would make what we call a quilt sandwich. So we would take our top with our batting in the middle, which is the soft, squishy stuff.
Soft stuff.
And then we would give it a back.
Okay.
And then we would do the actual quilting. So we would sew lines of stitches together to hold all 3 of our layers together.
Oh, and then show them there, like kind of what they're doing. Interesting. Okay,
so that's when we would get all the stitching to hold it together.
Okay.
And then the last step would be to finish the edges, and there's lots of different ways you can do that.
And how long, I know you said it's a big range, but say I wanted just to do this, how long would it take you to finish like that square? If it was a quilt?
Finish this from this point forward, so I'll be honest, a lot of the hours have already gone into this to get to this point.
Oh, I'm sure.
But to
in total then?
I've probably put 5 or 6 hours into it to get to this point.
Oh my gosh.
And then...
So again, just to this point here, we're talking 5 to 6 hours,
5 or 6
you said?
hours probably to get to that point. It would take me about another hour to finish piecing it, and then a couple hours to finish it from there.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of work, but it's incredible stuff that you brought today. So again, thank you, and we're going to talk more with Becky coming up in just a bit, so stay with us. Well, Becky, thank you again for coming, and I wanted to know where we can find your work if someone was watching, because I know there's people that love it. We love it here.
So the best place to keep up with me is on Instagram.
Oh, okay.
My handle is Becky McNeill, 2 L's, art and design.
Okay. E before I, right?
E before I, yes.
There you go.
You can keep up with all my studio updates there. I will have a piece at Silver Lake Brewing Project that is opening November 17th in the Genesee Valley 100 installation there, which is all textile art, which is really great.
Yeah, that's neat.
And then I'll have a solo show in Corning in April at the Arts Council.
That's going to be here like that.
It'll be here really soon since all the pieces aren't finished yet.
Yeah, exactly. All right, well, stay with us. We're going to say bye to Becky after the break, and we'll also have your daily pledge. Well, thank you, Becky McNeill, for being here with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Brought some color to our lives this morning, which we love, and I got to make a little quilt square. So I love that.
You did a great job.
Again, this is all going to be on our website, too, so you're going to find where you can find Becky and see what we did today, too, as well. So have a good weekend. Happy Friday. Happy fall back. Enjoy that extra hour.
Yes,
so have a good
stay
weekend.
warm.
Yeah, stay warm.